Hey Flosstube, it's Kim, Spurt and Stitcher on Instagram, back again with another weekly cross-stitching update. This is video number 71, and today is the 1st of June 2020. Stitch Mania is over. Page Finish Mania is over. It was fun, but it's also good to now get to something else. So, last I left you, I had my second page of the month on Sunday Delight was in work, and it was over here. This, I wouldn't say corner because I had the partial page done. So we had the top of the banana and dragon butt. I did, after the video, it took me 2.5 days. So Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday morning. Actually, I finished the page on Tuesday night. But because I had to do like an extra 650, can you hear the airplane? I don't know if you can hear that. B-52 flying over housing. I had an extra 650 stitches to do to finish the park, which was Redwood National Park for Full Coverage Fanatics National Park Challenge. So I did more than I had to get that done. So I got the page Tuesday, worked a little bit more Wednesday to get those extra stitches in. And I've got parked threads all over the place. So here is the full piece. Again, I have all the partial pages done on this one. And I will hold this up a second and then come in to show you that page. So it was after the video, or after the last time you saw it. Let me fold this right so you can see all the 3,100 more stitches. So there you go. Dragon butt. And then where I left in the gridding is for the page above it, since I was going into it to get that park done. So top of the banana, dragon butt, the little bit of purple you see right here, and then again up here, that is the box of cookies that is behind the dragon. So there we go. That was my 8th full page finish for Page Finish Mania. Just to show you again that box of cookies. So you can see a little bit of the box here, and then the main box will be, so I had the outline of his tail done, and a little bit you could see where his thigh was coming up. So really fun piece to work on. That was Sunday Delight by Randall Spangler on 25 count Lugana 2/1 10 stitch. And then I had 4.5 days to the end of the month. I really didn't know if I was going to get this done. If you ask Anne of Fiber Floss and Fiction podcast, I was talking to her like, man, oh man, I don't know if I'm going to get this done. But I got another page finish in. Star Wars by Mystic Stitch. This is a hard copy pattern. I do not have the PDF. So after working on doing 8 page finishes on 6 different pieces, all using Pattern Keeper, to switch over to this was a big change. I haven't worked a Haid, Tilton, or Mystic Stitch, that kind of pattern on paper in a long time. Because before Pattern Keeper, I was using Easy PDF. And as you know, I like to stitch cross country. Well, to work on a paper pattern, doing cross country involves a lot of searching. So the black was easy. I did all the black first on page 1. If you remember, I only had about 3 rows of black done across the top when I picked it up. So it was almost a page from start to finish in 4.5 days. There are over 80 colors on this chart. However, most of that is once you get to around the lightsaber. So in terms of colors, probably pretty close to where Half Blood Prince is with only 35 colors. So there was probably only about 35, 40 colors on this page. It's just a matter of trying to keep going cross country and searching for symbols. And then as I was stitching, I found out that there was two symbols very similar, but different directions. So like the double arrow this way, and then the double arrow that way was 415 and 413. So two grays, but one was light, one's dark. So I had to do some frogging on that one, and was pulling my hair out that I hadn't noticed that. But luckily, I didn't have to pull out that much. But I got the page done. I did, in 4.5 days, 7,210 stitches to get the page finished. That means I'm only 800 stitches short of the next park on this one, which I believe is, Rocky Mountain National Park. I didn't have it in me to keep going. I'll get it done later. So there is page 1 with Darth Vader. Cue his heavy breathing. As soon as I did all the black, you could see, where his face was going to show up. And so it was like he was standing over my shoulder the whole rest of the time going, breathing at me, waiting to see if I was going to get the page done. But yeah, there's a lot of different colors in this gray. There's lavenders and beige, and then there's some highlights to get the shading in his face. So page 1 on that one. My goal for this piece for 2020 was 2 pages. I don't know if I'm going to get there. I might have to consider not doing cross country, and I don't really want to do block by block, but it's fairly easy to do all the black first and then maybe figure out a different way. So I'm not thinking I got all of one color done. Like you can see my needle minder here. I had the chart working copy folded up on here, and I kept moving my needle minder just as a visual guide as to where I was at. You don't realize how much you rely on the things Pattern Keeper does for you until you can no longer use it. As far as zooming in, so you're not distracted by everything else around it. You're only looking at the one area you're working at. Highlighting all of one symbol so you can see the best path to take. Making sure you don't miss anything. And even once you take that path, then you have to remember that path to mark it on the paper copy with the highlighter and remember where things at. I know I could have, used 2 different highlighters and highlighted all of one symbol and then gone over it again. It's just so much time, and I was short on time. And so then I ended up taking out colors like 3 times because I thought I had all of one symbol done, only to realize later that I didn't. So it was frustrating, but I got the page done. So that means my page Finish Mania, I got 9 full pages, 3 partial pages on 7 different projects. It was a total of 47,610 stitches, which I wanted to compare it to last year, what I did for page Finish Mania, to see how much more I did. And because last year I also worked on some full cross pieces, I converted all my stitches this year to full cross to see my total, which was then 23,800. Mania 2019, I did 13,750. So we're talking over 10,000 more full cross stitches this year, which I attribute 100% to the fact that we're in a pandemic and in lockdown and aren't going out and doing things. There's no school, there's no, extracurricular events. So 9 full pages, 3 partial pages. I'm extremely happy with that. January through April, so before May, I only had 6 full pages and 1 partial page done. So I more than doubled what I had already done for the year in page Finish Mania as far as all my full coverage pieces. So to be, switch to something completely different, I got that page finish on Star Wars yesterday right before putting my girls to bed. So I had about 3 hours of me time after they go to sleep to work on something completely different. So I pulled out a piece that I have not worked on this year. This is from Donna Cooler's 555 Christmas cross-stitch designs. However, this particular design is also available on the Cooler Design website as a PDF or a chart, hard copy chart. This is the Santa Christmas sampler. Try to get it there without glare. And I had only started this, the top center Santa with the banner. I started it last year for School of Magical Stitches homework. I think I had about 500 stitches into it. So, so far, between last night and today, I've put about 300 more stitches into it. Really having fun. Completely different mindset to work on this compared to the full coverage. And since it's something I haven't worked on yet this year, I'm enjoying it. So, there's Santa without any backstitch. I finished up the green behind him. I already had his whole face, beard, and hat done. And I had started the green on this side. So I finished the green, did all the green on this side, and I did both his arms between last night and this morning. So I just have to do his mittens, and then I can start working on the banner, plus there's more background behind him. This fabric is 28 count Lugana in gingerbread by Picture This Plus. So a really good color to make all the Santas pop on it. So I'm going to work on him more this week. Since I haven't worked on him at all this year. I need to get more progress in him. My goal for this piece was to get 4 Santas done. Now, depending on which Santas I work on, they're all different sizes. And if I choose to work on the other motifs around him, because the big top center Santa, he's got those 2 candy canes. And then, you know, like this Santa's a lot bigger than the moon Santa there or the star Santa. So we'll see what I get to this year. But I'm going to work on him for a couple more days at least. And then the other thing I'm going to work on, it is June 1st, so that means the next Witches Familiar has been released for the catalog of Witches Familiar Sal by Ingleside Imaginarium. I did not pull that one out to show you because I haven't touched it yet. The June Familiar is Canis, or a dog. He looks like a greyhound. After a famous Witches Familiar that was a greyhound. And the idea is that the Canis Familiar is good for witches because not only is he loyal and protective, he's also playful. He can chase off bad spirits or people you don't like. And I really like it because greyhounds are my favorite breed of dog. I didn't bring it with me, but we used to have a greyhound, and I really, really enjoy them as companions. So it's going to be fun to stitch up a little greyhound as a Witches Familiar. And then other plans for June. Something I have not worked on since April. Macintosh Mill. So this is the starting point for the month. I have the rest of the year to finish this side. Remember, the other side is already done. So I need to give this some serious attention now here in June. And for the Full Coverage Fanatics Around the World Challenge, for June we are going to Germany. And so my piece for that, I didn't bring the picture of it, is Kindred Spirits. It's Jody Bergsma design where it's 2 horse heads, one black and one white. And my reasoning behind that to fit the monthly challenge is because of the history of the Lipizzan in World War II with the Germans. A Nazi high command actually moved the Lipizzans from their dangerous location in Austria into Germany to escape the dangers and effectively save the Lipizzan breed during World War II until it was safe for them to return. And so I'm saying that the white horse is definitely a Baroque breed on the design. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be an Andalusian, a Lusitano, or a Lipizzan. So I'm saying it's a Lipizzan because of their history in World War II with the Germans. So my starting point on that one, and once I work on it, I'll have a picture to show you the design. Remember, I'm going to diagonal page finishes on this one, so you can't really see what I have done, but that's pages 1, 2, and 3 are done. So next I'll be working on this page right here, the first page on the second row. So that is already on the quantum frame, ready for me to work on. So we'll see what I get to. Definitely familiars, definitely Santas in the next week. Okay. I want to apologize to anyone that has either commented on my videos or replied to one of my comments on their videos and not gotten a response. Like some other Flosstubers have mentioned, settings got changed in YouTube and I wasn't getting notification of comments. But hopefully, I think I fixed that. So hopefully now, anytime someone does the little @ symbol with my channel name, or replies to a comment or comments on my videos, hopefully I'll get a notification so that I can reply, because I really enjoy replying, reading your comments and replying to them, of course. Okay, next we have horse news and then Air Force story. So if you don't want to see baby horses, which I don't know why you wouldn't want to, but if you don't want to see baby horses and are only interested in the stitching, I'll see you next week. So like 3 weeks ago, I told you that the broodmare at my friend's barn, where Spencer is staying down in Louisiana, was due any day. We thought she was due the beginning of May. We thought she was going to have the foal beginning of May. When she was bred last summer, it was a pasture breeding. So this is a mare that doesn't do well, doesn't catch when she's artificially inseminated. And the particular stallion she was bred to, they like to do the pasture breeding. So she was literally turned out with the stallion in a pasture for 30 days. And apparently she didn't get pregnant until her second cycle with him. So she was still overdue. But she finally had her baby at midnight between Thursday and Friday. And he is a cutie patootie. So she's a Palomino, a really light Palomino, and the daddy is a chestnut or sorrel, just like Spencer. And so those were the two colored options that it was either going to be one of the two. It was either going to be Palomino or a red baby. That's just how the genetics work. And he turned out a red baby. It's like a mini Spencer. So that's Mama. Baby's got a really nice star and blaze down his face. And then, let me get to the other pictures. That was he was 2 days old there. Exploring outside for the first time. So there he's discovering a tree. He's like, whoa, my goodness, what is that? Let me show you his legs close up. This boy has a lot of what we call chrome. When they have really white legs, that's what we call chrome. So, I don't know if you can tell in the picture. I also put these on my Instagram stories. But his white almost goes up to his knees and almost goes up to his hocks in the back. So he's going to be flashy guy. And the way that he's built is really fancy. He's going to be a really fancy guy. So Mama is a quarter horse and Daddy is an Oldenburg. Even though she's a quarter horse, she was accepted into the mare book for Oldenburg. So Baby will be a registered Oldenburg. She has had one other Oldenburg foal that was actually a girl, a filly, who's now turned 5 and is really nice. That was a black baby because Daddy was black. So this mare and her half-brother that my friend also owns as a stallion, they tend to throw exactly what the other horse is. So she's been bred twice. The first time was to a black stallion. She had a black baby. Second time was to a red stallion. She had a red baby. Her half-brother that my friend has as a stallion and breeds to other mares, 2 or 3 mares a year, he's a red stallion, but he always throws, so his foals are always the same color as their mama. So the genetics gets really kind of interesting. It doesn't always work that way. So I'm going to show you some of the baby. His nickname is Cosmo. So I'm just going to say some of Cosmo's cousins, if you will, because it's his mom's brother's offspring. So this is a medicine hat colt, and you can see, so mama's a pinto or a paint, so is he. And a medicine hat is what you call when they have mostly white head and neck and color just on their ears like they were wearing a hat. I don't know if I have another. There's an older. This baby's a few weeks older, so that's why he looks more substantial. He's really, really cute. Where's the other one? And then here's another one that was born the same night as Cosmo. You can see another paint mama, red and white, and so he's red and white as well. So those are your baby pictures. If you want to see more baby pictures, I'm sure I'll be posting more in my Instagram stories as we watch Cosmo grow up. So that is horses. Next is Air Force stories. Actually, I still need my tablet for one of the pictures for that. So when my husband was stationed down in Louisiana, Shreveport, it was Barksdale Air Force Base. Barksdale is also a B-52 base, and one of his jobs when he was there was flight safety wing. He was the flight safety officer for the wing, in the wing safety office. So what that means is any incidents that were directly related to flight and airplanes was under his purview. That also includes, so any, aircraft damage, whether it was during flight or on the flight line, he was called and had to oversee the process of reporting the damage and fixing the damage, investigating what caused it, whether it's the fault of people or like a bird strike, that kind of thing. So talking about birds, one of the biggest jobs at any Air Force base or commercial airport is what we call bird abatement, keeping the birds away from the airfield, because any bird that strikes an aircraft, whether it is ingested into the engine or just hits other flight surfaces of the aircraft, is a danger. So there are all kinds of things around the world that are done to try to keep birds away from airfields. You've probably heard of some airfields and airports use dogs to chase off the birds, because we don't just want to kill the birds. We like our animals. We just need them to stay away from the airport. Stay away from the active, both the taxiways and the runways. So they always use harassment first. They want to scare the birds off. They want to eliminate any attractive nesting areas, so they keep the grass at a certain length to make it so that ground nesting birds aren't interested in nesting there if the grass is too short. They try to restrict any potential water sources. So anything to try to keep the birds away from the airfield. If they cannot keep the birds away, eventually they do turn to lethal options. My husband and the people that worked with him in the flight safety used shotguns and pellet guns, mostly shotguns, for the birds that just won't stay away. Again, this was a last resort, is when they shoot the birds. Barksdale Air Force Base being in Louisiana, we're talking about lots of waterfowl. So you have ducks, egrets, other kinds of water birds like that. There's doves, and very rarely birds of prey that will not stay away. Now, Barksdale Air Force Base is enormous, and it's enormous because a really big chunk of it is wild. It's bayous. There's something like 5 small lakes on the base property. You can, if you're a military member and you have all the appropriate permits and licenses and safety courses, you can go hunting on what's called the East Res or East Reservation of Barksdale. You can go hunting because it's that much of a wild area that's part of the base. And so all the birds and wildlife are more than welcome to be over there. And through not only the state permits and licenses, but you also get state permits and licenses through the base. So they know exactly who is killing what and how many they're restricted to. So things you can hunt on the East Res part of the base, you can go fishing in the lakes. You can hunt small game, so your squirrels, rabbits, doves, quail, woodcock, duck. You can hunt raccoon. You can hunt deer with guns and archery. And of course, being it's Louisiana bayous, there are also alligators. So my husband would frequently go out to the airfield and, keep scaring away these birds, shoot them when they absolutely will not go away. And the other thing they would do is they would use steel cable snares to catch like coyotes and things that like to go on the airfield. And one time they actually caught an alligator with a coyote snare. Now, they did not kill the alligator. They had to get special permission to handle the alligator, release him from the snare, and transport him back to the East Res part of the base. One of the people that worked with my husband, so there's the alligator. That sucker's at least 5 feet long, probably 6 feet long, stuck on a snare. One of the people he works with is a civilian USDA representative. So that's U.S. Department of Agriculture. So they had to get special permission. It took about half an hour to get the permission to go up to the alligator, restrain him. So obviously they couldn't hurt him. And get him off the snare and take him back to the East Res side of the base. And every so often, not all the time, one interesting thing they would do is if they had to shoot the birds that wouldn't stay away, sometimes they would take those dead birds, go over to the East Res side of the base, and if the alligators were active, they would feed the alligators the dead birds to try to encourage them to stay over on that side of the base and not come over to the airfield. So depending on where the airports are all across the world, they use different techniques. I've seen a lot of airports use dogs, which is really smart because dogs like to chase the birds. And if you keep it up, the birds will just go find somewhere else where they won't be constantly harassed. You can use shots to scare them off before you actually hit them. And of course, all the other things I said, cutting the grass, eliminating water sources, and just making it an unpleasant place so they go look for somewhere else to live. So that is part of airfield bird abatement. I hope you find that interesting. And we will see you guys next week, see how much I accomplish. And have a good week, everybody. It's June. There's a chance I might see my husband this month. I don't know when. I don't know anything for sure. Hopefully it'll, over the next week or two, it'll get more concrete. But we're getting closer, but we still have a ways. So, happy stitching, everybody, and we'll see you later. Bye.